Freedom Day commemorations. Give us the latest from there.
Live from Yalingana here in Manguzi in northern KwaZulu-Natal as we wrap up Freedom Day celebrations 2017 at this venue. It is a largely rural municipality, but it's a diverse destination known for its unspoiled natural as well as cultural beauty as well as attractions. Now, the president just finished his keynote address a little while, about half an hour ago, and he touched on some salient points. Some of them include the issue of crime, issue of economics, racism. Let's explore these and other issues now. Minister of Communications, Ayanda Dlodlo, joins me now. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Minister. President touched on many issues, and I guess it's issues that pertain to Freedom Day, issues that pertain to you and me as citizens. What stood out for you?
Well, the theme was really around the celebration of 100 years of the life of Oliver Tambo, amongst other things. And this is an icon of our struggle that brought us to where we are today, amongst many other icons of struggle. Over and above that, there were a few issues that the president touched on, things that were given to the ministers to look into over the past 3 months or so. One of which is to ensure that television is brought to the people of this area. So we're looking at issues around DTT, the rollout of the process of digital migration. It was also around cell phone operators, because there's a signal problem in this area, and they had come here with Minister for Telecommunications to look at the problem and determine what kind of assistance they could give. But over and above that, the problem of crime in this area, cross-border crime, something that I think has been neglected over time. Those are the things that the president brought here, the police station that is going to be built. But we must also remember, for the police to be able to track the vehicles that have been stolen in South Africa, cross-border crimes, they need a signal to be able to track the vehicle. So the cell phone companies must come on board, but over and above them, the insurance companies, I think, should also assist in that process.
Do you think the message hit home to people here in this area? They were very excited that the National Day of importance was brought here. Do you think the message hit home?
I think for people who live in far-flung areas of our country, in rural areas, this is a first, and the first had to happen here. You saw in the reception how the president was received in this area. This is home to many stalwarts of the revolution, and bringing it here on the 23rd anniversary of our freedom was really a mark in our history that says to our people, own your freedom.
And I was just talking earlier about it, the proximity to Mozambique, Swaziland, countries like those that helped in the fight against apartheid. Some bases were set up in areas like this. It's also significant in having it in this geographical space.
It is. Our Deputy Minister for Finance, for instance, was housed in one of the caves in this area. His unit was here. A very sad story of a comrade who worked here for a very long time, covered by the masses of this place, with a resort that he could go into Swaziland or Mozambique as backup if anything happened. But sadly, they were arrested in this area. And one of the comrades called Post, who was the commander of the unit, was flown in a helicopter, hanging onto it like this, for the whole of this area to see that if you house and assist what was then termed as terrorists, this is what would happen to you.
To you personally, Minister, what does Freedom Day mean to you?
To me, it means I have to serve, continue from where I started as a young child. To me, it means that I have to marvel at what this country has done over a 23-year period. Many countries would not have done this much for its people in a space of 23 years as this government has done.
Many are saying that you can't attain true freedom without, you need to be emancipated from unemployment, poverty, racism, sexism, and all forms of discrimination that puts down a society. How far are we from attaining those goals?
We are lagging behind on the economic emancipation of our people. Racism is rife in South Africa, and over the past 2 years or so, it has become so emboldened. People have become so brazen in their racism And the president spoke to that by saying there's legislation that is going to be put in place to deal with hate crimes and acts of racism against our people. But there's a lot that we still need to do to have people enjoying this freedom, free from or relative freedom from poverty, inequality and unemployment.
Do you think it's a lack of knowledge? I'm talking about racism. Do you think it's a lack of knowledge from society that prevents us from interacting more, that pushes us into this insular kind of society, that we don't know our fellow man? And these are the underlying issues that stem and eventually ultimately end up into racism.
I'm not sure what it really is, but if we've been going on celebrating our freedom for so many years, more than 20 years, but I've never seen our white compatriots celebrating this freedom with us. We go all over the place, all over the country, celebrating this freedom. But it seems to be a celebration for black people only. And that's a sad reality of our country, a society polarized along racial lines.
What can be done to draw everybody together?
Mass education, reconscientizing the children that grow up. Because if the parents take the responsibility of conscientizing their children, you will see a different color and complexion to our society in South Africa.
Thank you very much indeed for your time, Minister, and all the best for Freedom Day. Ayanda Dlodlo there, she's the Minister of Communications. Just wrapping up Freedom Day 2017 from here, Manguzi in northern KwaZulu-Natal. It's back to studio.